Strange song here, isn't it? I am a foreigner to my own family, a stranger to my own mother's children. If you are watching this right now, your relationship to God is kind of important to you, and maybe at the feast you've gone through a transformation. Maybe you made a retreat with the feast, maybe a Jesus encounter, but all you know is that God loves you and you want to share this joy with others, but maybe within your own family, because they know all the skeletons in your closet. They say to you, how come you all of a sudden have become holy? And they might reject what you've experienced. Even though they're Catholic, even though they might go to Mass, they're a little bit suspicious of this transformation. And that happens often. You know what? It's so terrific to be able to go, not the last 2 years, but to go to PICC. There's 2,000-3,000 people there, and I get to preach to them every week, and I get affirmations. Father, I felt as though Jesus was speaking directly to me. And people go to confession, and I bring them back, but still I felt like a failure. And the reason that I felt like a failure is that I could reach so many people by my preaching and calling them back to the Lord and hearing their confessions, but I couldn't reach my own brother. His name is John. My brother was in the Franciscans, in the novitiate, for about 1.5 years, and he discerned that, no, he wasn't called to this. And so he came home in November of 1967. In 1969, my sister got the flu in February, and she died of bacterial endocarditis, which is treatable today, on April 11th. It absolutely destroyed our family because we prayed so hard that she would get better. I was in the seminary that first year at that time. My brother became a bartender. So I often tell people that my brother's a bartender, my sister's a nurse, and I'm a priest. They go to my brother first, my sister second, and me last. But on the way to driving my brother to work, he said to me, Bobby, I can't pray anymore. And I didn't know what to say. And so we drove the rest of the way to work, and he got out of the car, and I felt like such a failure because I didn't know what to say. Here I am, a seminarian. And from then on, for the next 40 years, whenever I would try to speak to my brother about God, he often was so clever at changing the subject. We both got older, and my brother was living in his own apartment. He wasn't married. And when I would come home at Christmas time, I would offer to bring him communion. And he'd say, no, that's okay. And then I would go to bless him before I went back to the Philippines. And as I was blessing him, he just looked at me with the blank stare of the living dead. He didn't even bless himself. And this is the way it was for years. I was home at the time, and my brother was taken to the hospital. He had had a heart attack, and he was in intensive care. And I got a call from the nurses that said he might not make it. And so I had to drive an hour. And I wanted to give him the sacrament of the sick, or depending on his condition, the last rites. And I'm saying, Lord, I don't know what to say to him. I've been trying to reach him for all these years, and I haven't been able to do it. I reach everybody else, but I can't reach him. And I went into the intensive care unit, and there he was. And I said, John, I'm going to give you the sacrament of the sick. I don't know if you're going to make it or not, but I want you to get everything right with God. Would you want the sacrament of the sick? And he nodded, yes. And so I prayed over him, laid hands on him, and sacrament of the sick was given to him, and he recovered. He got better. But 3 weeks after that, he had to have his right leg amputated above the knee. And when I heard that was going to happen, I was going to say, he's probably furious at God as he was at God when my sister died, and everything that the sacrament did is going to be undone. That he would think that this is a penance, God punishing him for being away from the church all those years. But when I saw him, he was okay with it. He said, there was a lot of pain in my leg, they took it off. I'll be able to get a fake leg and I'll be walking before I know it. He was so at peace. And I said, Johnny, do you remember a few weeks ago I gave you the sacrament of the sick? He said, yeah. I said, what do you think about that? And he said to me, Bobby, he said, I'm okay now with God and I'm okay with myself. You see where we can't succeed sometime, when we cannot reach the people that we love the most, where we can't find a way, we keep praying for them. And you might not be the one, as I was able to be, but you might not be the one that touches their life in such a way that they come back to the Lord. It might be somebody else. But never give up on them. It was over 40 years. But my brother finally reconciled with the Lord, and he died 3 years ago. And I pray for him in the Chapel of Divine Mercy every night, but I'm sure that he's with the Lord. And so with you as well, realize that the Lord will find the way, that somehow, in some way, he will surprise you, because our God is a God of surprises, of the unexpected, and you will no longer feel as though you're a foreigner in your own house, a stranger to your own brothers or sisters.